This seafood delicacy is known the world over as an aphrodisiac. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brayton and welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be learning all you need to know about oysters. Do you have any tips or suggestions for a first-timer with oysters who's never tried oysters before?
Find an oyster shucker that you can trust. If you have an oyster that is anything less than 90% of how excellent it should be and how fresh it should be, you're gonna have a bad experience. I can't tell you, I've got 10 people a week who come in and say I don't like oysters. They suddenly fall in love with them. They're like, I was missing this for years. It's not fair. So that's my advice. Find a shucker you trust.
Now, where are some of the most popular or prominent oyster species from?
Well, that depends where you're from. The French love their oysters. So they will argue that their oysters are the best. New Zealand oysters are amazing, just spectacular oysters. A creamy, seaweedy, just standing on a New Zealand bay in the fall, amazing. I am partial to Massachusetts oysters and through Maine. I find their sweetness, the water, the complexity really great. Sample different oysters, enjoy different oysters, and you will find if you're an East Coast, West Coast, European person, and you just stick with that.
How are oysters best served?
Really, if you want to respect the oyster, take it, chew one without anything. You have another one, you have 6 oysters, play with it. You put a little mignonette on, finely diced shallots. We do champagne vinegar and finely diced shallots at the restaurant here, which I find complement an East Coast oyster. It gives a nice effervescence and sweetness. Put a little horseradish on a West Coast oyster, a little bit of lemon. You can play once you've appreciated the oyster, but for me, try one without anything, respect it, and then you can move on.
What other flavors, foods, drinks pair well with oysters?
Well, one of my favorite pairings, which really surprised a lot of people, is taking a West Coast oyster and I pair it with a little chilled shot of Hendrick's gin. And because those oysters have this natural cucumber and seaweed flavor, you drink the gin and then you eat the oyster, and they two just slide together perfectly. And for me, that's the essence of pairing, where two just meet and just like silk sheets, just like absolutely beautiful.
If you're looking to buy oysters for yourself at home, what exactly should you be looking for?
Number one is, same with finding a trucker you trust, find a fishmonger you trust. Now, not all fishmongers know about oysters. They will have oysters, but perhaps they don't know about them, so find one that does. Second thing is, the most important thing to look for is ask for the harvest date. The harvest date is the day the oyster was taken out of the water. You want that to be as close to when you are purchasing the oyster as possible. Nice weight in your hand, weigh them out in your hand. If they feel like they're full, also give them a little tap. Take 2 oysters and tap them together. If it sounds hollow, it means there's not much inside. You want a big, full, beautiful oyster.
Is there any special way to store them?
Store them cup side down. What happens is an oyster doesn't move through its whole life. So all it does is open its mouth to feed and close its mouth, open its mouth, close. That's it. Now, in shipping, or if you keep him at home, if you have your oyster stored down and he's a little thirsty, he's gonna open his mouth, all the liquid's gonna fall out, he's gonna dry out, and you're gonna lose your oyster. You keep him like this, you got an extra 4, 5, 6 days.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much.